Is he going to get on with the idiots we've got upstairs? I'm not really sure about that. Like, are we going to see him be able... Is it going to be something that in 6 months' time he's just getting sacked? Then we're like, we should have stuck with Michael Carrick, who's now doing well wherever he's gone. I don't know, I think just give it Carrick. I don't know.
Maybe someone who's lost maybe a touch of respect with the Manchester United fans of late is Jim Ratcliffe.
Yeah.
You know, about his comments about immigration. You obviously come out and were very critical of him as well. I mean, what's your feeling now?
I mean, obviously,
fan base?
I disagree with him on every possible metric, and I think factually, statistically, morally, I think he's wrong on everything. And I've been quite open and clear about my thoughts on him for that. But even if you take away the fact that I disagree with him, as a statesman of Manchester United and as someone that's now a spokesperson for the club, you should probably keep your mouth shut on those kind of topics, especially when you're speaking about the club, because then you bring the club into those comments and people kind of assume that the club have that viewpoint. And I found it crazy that the club had to kind of release a statement which kind of went against one of their co-owners' words. I just found the whole thing really confusing. And for him to bring it up at this time, you know, we've had quite an optimistic 4 weeks. We've been unbeaten in, I think it's 7 games, 7 or 8 games now, 5 under Michael Carrick. Just keep your mouth shut. Like, let us enjoy this positivity while it's building. We had 12 days without a game and we think, oh, it's going to be quite boring. And then he opens his mouth and it's like, I just don't think he gets the position that he's in at the moment and the responsibility that comes with that. And like I said, as someone that's a child of immigrants, I disagreed with everything he kind of said.
Why did he say it? Like, what was the context? Like, why did it come up?
I'm kind of thinking that maybe he's leaning towards a position where if the government changes in the future, then he can be seen to be on the same page as those people that may get into power, and therefore that will help him. Because he spoke about the amount of money that immigrants apparently take out of the country, but whilst he's trying to get the government and the taxpayer to subsidise his stadium build, which is quite crazy. Yeah, whilst he's in Monaco, dodging as much tax as he can. So I just found it pretty crazy, and it was a stupid time to come out and open his mouth.
You know, on this show, I think the last time we did this, we had a sort of a debate about people speaking. I think it was like, we should hear more from sporting directors and owners, and I was a little bit of the opinion that, like, I always think I'm always happy when we're all happy when our club's winning.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to hear too much from them, to be honest, and I think he's almost in a case in point sometimes. The more they speak, he just seems like every time he opens his mouth, he says something daft. I think he's probably done about 3 or 4 big interviews, hasn't he? You know, he had a sit down with Gary, I think, for the overlap. And every few months, Ratcliffe seems to be doing something, you know, in the sort of media.
Well, he was trying to take credit for Michael Carrick, and it's like, you didn't plan this to happen.
Yeah.
Michael Carrick's only here because you messed up with your previous choice of manager. Like you said, before that, he came out and was like, Ruben Amorim's got 3 years and then sacked him within a month. So he's just really confusing. And look, you can maybe say his heart's in the right place and he wants Manchester United to be a better football team, but I think his actions and everything that he's saying kind of goes against everything he's saying. Sorry, he said about putting Manchester back in the club and then went and sacked everybody that was there. He's confusing, and I thought it was just bad timing altogether.
You just mentioned Carrick there, and on the back of the news about Thomas Tuchel staying with England, and I thought he was one of those people who might be in the frame. How close are we to sort of probably most people getting on board with the fact that Michael Carrick is going to be the...
He's my number one choice now.
Pardon?
He's my number one choice.
That's what I'm saying. So you're there now. How much of the Manchester United fan base is there?
I'm not sure. The reason I've got to this position where he's my number one choice is because if you look at it, kind of, you look at the managers that are available in the summer. Obviously, Tuchel, Ancelotti have counted themselves out of it. For me, I think the Pochettino ship sailed. I don't, you know, after the Chelsea thing, I'm not really sure about that one. And then the other one's Nagelsmann again. I think he's a great coach, but I mean, Roy agree, like, do you want someone rocking up on a skateboard at Carrington? I'm not too sure about that one. And, like, just, do you want to wait for him to be finished at the World Cup as well? The pre-season's massive for us. So then outside of that, you've got Luis Enrique, who I believe probably should be the club's first choice. But there doesn't seem to be any noise around that or any feeling that United are going after him. So I look at Michael Carrick and I think if he can keep the style of play going, if he can keep improving the players, which he has done, I think if you look at Benjamin Sesko, for example, I think Gary Neville and Roy Keane have been so harsh on him, and I think they're wrong. I think if you look at his last 6 appearances in the Premier League, 2 of those have been starts. He scored 5 goals. His finish against West Ham the other day was a world-class finish. I'm not saying he's world-class, but the finish was a world-class one. It was great, and I think he's starting to settle. And that's a player that hasn't been selected every game, but Michael Carrick's still in his ear, still keeping him going and still making him fight for a spot. So I really like what I'm seeing from him. His style of football is good. We're scoring goals. We're defensively a lot better. Obviously, there'll be a period of time when the pressure's on and we get a little bit shaky, but I think Carrick could be the one.
I think when you talk about Luis Enrique and stuff, and I think we've been there and tried different managers. We've tried Mourinho and Van Gaal, then we've tried the likes of Ten Hag and Amarin, which don't work. I just think, for me, Carrick makes sense. I felt that from the minute he was mentioned of going in, not because, obviously, we played together and we're friends. I just think he's a real calm influence. And what I've spoke about massively, I've got 2 boys in the academy, I've spoke about this a lot. There was a massive disconnect from the academy and first team. And there was, and whether people say that's right or wrong. And immediately what we've seen is this connection coming back together, which Man United was known for. It was known to be a family club. And Michael's done that actually in a very short period of time, where we're seeing the first team coaches at the academy games, and there's a real interest in the academy again.
How did you feel as a parent of one of the academy players and a club legend when Amarim kind of came out and was taking little digs at Chido Obi and
I don't think it's right to do that at any level, is it? But what I was talking about, I was there with Michael Carrick. Our boys in the same academy team, and we used to sit in the car and have a sleep in the car park, the 2 of us. Because
did you have the hairdryer as well?
Carragher stood there like that. But we in the car park and actually with 2 players who are very experienced, who know the football club, just even someone to come out and say, can we have 10 minutes with you to just have a word, just to see what you feel about the football club. And I really believe, and people might agree, disagree, having someone in there who knows the club, who cares the club, it makes a big difference. And what you said about Sesko, what Michael's doing, he's managing the whole squad. He's managing them really well. The players who are starting, they're fine, you don't have to manage them, you do the coaching with them. But the other lads who aren't playing, I've had the impact. Cunha, when he come on in the first couple of games, had the impact. We've seen him run back and work hard. Sesko coming on and having an impact. Harry Maguire looks back to the player we once thought he was. Martinez, he's having an impact on the whole squad, the whole football club. And I think sometimes we're quick to overlook what's right there in front of you and say, we've got this manager from Turkey or from Spain who's going to come in and do this, when actually they've no interest on the football club. At least this will give the foundations for the club to keep building, whether in 2, 3, 4 years' time Carragher goes or moves on, the infrastructure will be back in that football club. That's what I believe.
Adam, do you think Manchester United now, I'm sure they must be, but it's difficult for them as a club. When do they actually stop? Because you've got to be speaking to people. They must be speaking to agents right now and almost have this plan together. But how long before they've actually got to stop speaking to other people or other,
You'd hope they've already kind of started doing that, but when a couple of your options start to rule themselves out, maybe the owner of the club should shut his mouth and, get to work rather than embarrassing himself on a world stage. I don't know. I think they have to start doing that, but it doesn't feel like the Enrique one is even a thing. Tuchel, Ancelotti have gone.
Can I ask about Tuchel? Do you think Tuchel, in the experience that you've had, I know he signed this deal. I think it's a stupid thing from the FA, absolutely pointless, bidding against themselves, but they've done it, so fine. But does it actually matter? Surely if a club like Manchester United come along, say England go out to Mexico in the quarterfinals, Tuchel has signed this new deal, but Manchester United say, we want you to be our manager. Surely the rates that Manchester United can pay, and also the history of the club.
If he wanted the job, if he wanted the job, he just doesn't sign.
I think there's a chance he could still go. But I think from the FA's point of view, I think what they probably have done, or the hoping they've done, is stop all that noise during the World Cup.
Yeah.
Because if they hadn't signed that, then a lot of the noise would have been, is he going to leave after the World Cup? Is he going to go Man United? Where actually I think putting that extra 2 years in place will stop a lot of that noise. And then listen, if he goes out in the quarterfinals, does he deserve to have that 2 years?
No, absolutely not.
So I think it's on the front end of that, stopping
Right.
All
Wait,
that
he's
speculation.
still
That's
not
what
sure
I'd assume.
Yeah, he's
I'm
still
not sure about Tuchel though anymore. Like, there's a time where I really rated him, and I still do rate him as a coach. But it's like he's always falling out with boards everywhere he goes. Like PSG, Chelsea, that happened. Is he going to get on with the idiots we've got upstairs? I'm not really sure about that. Like, are we going to see him be able? Is it going to be something that in 6 months' time he's just getting sacked? Then we're like, we should have stuck with Michael Carrick, who's now doing well wherever he's gone. I don't know. I think just give it Carrick. I don't know. I'm starting to get used to the idea.
Is there a fear there? So
Not just 6. He had, I think it's like 9 games. He's not lost a game.
I said something about Rosinia and Carragher, and I still stick by it, in that when I think one of the big boys appoint a manager, you've got to have, I always think, can I see them winning the league, you know, with that manager? And I said I couldn't with sort of Michael Carrick or Rosinia at Chelsea. But you're at a stage now where actually, if you go and get the new shiny toy or the next sort of big coach, that, yeah, he could be that genius who takes you to the title. But you could also have a situation where Amram, where it's actually, it becomes really bad or toxic, he doesn't get the club. So almost Michael Carrick's that safe pair of hands where he just makes everyone just feel a little bit. But you actually believe he could go on and win you like the Champions League or the Premier League?
Look, that remains to be seen, obviously. But from what I see from him tactically, you look at the spell he had before, the spell he's had now, I think it's about 9 or 10 games altogether. We haven't lost any of those games. And the managers he's come up against, he's constantly changing the style of play, the tactics within that as well. And I think some of his tactical selections and choices have helped us win a lot of these games. I think his substitutions have been very good at times as well. There's none of that, we're bringing on a centre-back when we're 1-0 down against 10 men.
What was all that about?
It was nuts. I'm actually kind of embarrassed that I kind of stood by and just was watching it happen. I remember the Kobbie Mainoo thing was proper annoying me, like that Kobbie Mainoo wasn't playing. How can a manager not see that talent in that player?
Is Carragher just doing what a good manager should have
Just, yeah,
done
what
with
we
Man
do
United?
tended to be Man
Is
United.
Carragher looking good or just making Amram?
I said this before he went in. I said, and obviously I've tried in coaching whenever I had to go, but so when he went in there, Man United just need simplicity. They just need common sense in the team selection, in players running forward and running back at the same speed they're running forward, and which was not happening. And I think all he's just done, he's got them organised, got them hard to beat, and said to them attacking players who've got a little bit more flair, you've got to be the match winners the games, and we'll stay in the game if you win the games. And it's actually very simple what he's done, but very effective, where now what we're seeing is all these coaches or head coaches coming in and, you know, we're seeing rotations all over the place and, you know, they want to have 1,000 passes of the ball and that's a success. When actually, just do the basics, right? Get the ball forward, get in the penalty box, back it up, sustain attacks. And I think that's what Michael's done at Man United, and it's working.
And you look at the football as well, it's not just been the results. Like, one of the things, like, you know, if we were getting results for the football, some of the football we're playing at the moment is the best in the league. I know it's only been 4 weeks, but you look at some of the passing moves and all those kind of things. We passed you off the park at times. Could have been 6 or 7 against City. Like, it is really refreshing to see, and be interesting. What is Carrick like on the training pitch with these players, and tactically, how does he kind of see the game? Does he have one kind of outlook, or is he willing to?
No, you have to be able to adapt, don't you, and understand the. Listen, every time we play Arsenal, when I was in the team, and this is what he'll be bringing back into from his memories as well. What worked? Arsenal would have the ball and have a lot of possession. We'd sit back, and we didn't even have to work on the training pitch, because we had a group of players who knew, right, we're playing Arsenal, this is how we're going to play. And we'd sit there, wait, and then hit them on the break. And he's done that, obviously, against City and Arsenal. So he'll have different phases in his mind for the opposition he's playing against. Now, the Fulham game, I thought, was a massive game. And I spoke to him after the game, and he felt that was the biggest game which he's had, not the Arsenal, the City one, because you had to play, and they come to I was at the game, some difficult moments. Fulham played really well with the ball, but that mindset and the mentality of, right, we're going to stay in it. If that was Amram a few weeks before, 100% he'd lose the game. 100%. So I think he's adapting to different things. He's coaching, he's the lead coach. Even though Steve Holland's in there, Steve will be there as a help and a experience. Michael's the lead coach on everything he's doing. So I just think you've got something there in front of you. Please just don't make any silly
Could be our Zidane.
Sorry?
Could be our Zidane, you know what I mean? Could be.
Or Pep.
He might be the one.
Unbelievable.
Used to be
Fastest
here
Pep.
first.
He might be the one.